Sukuna was able to land a hit on Gojo as he's able to slice his neck after they both did their domain expansion, but Sukuna was able to get an upper hand as his domain doesn't have a barrier compared to Gojo, which it has a barrier. Because the whole thing with Gojo having a barrier is that the barrier from the outside is weak. So if anyone goes on ahead and attack it, then pretty much your domain is destroyed, which we see that Sukuna was able to do that at the end of the chapter because he doesn't have a barrier, which he has more free range and he's able to control it. Now, people like Megami, who doesn't have a barrier, he has to use the environment to actually make his domain be more effective because it's a very incomplete domain. So this whole chapter is going to be a whole bunch of people stating domain, domain, domain. And also as well, the majority of the chapter is focused on the other characters as they're watching the fight. And we see Higurami, we see Kashimo, we actually see Yuji, we see everyone who was involved in the calling games or the past couple of chapters. And they're all giving their commentary on how this fight is going to actually correlate while both of these guys are going to do a domain expansion. Because apparently everyone didn't know that Sukuna didn't have a barrier when he did his domain expansion, besides Chozo, because he was the one to inform everyone that Sukuna and Kenjaku do not have a barrier when they do their domain expansion, which shocked everybody. And he tells them the outcome of the battle between Kenjaku and Yuki, and he says that if Yuki had did a domain expansion instead of a simple domain, then maybe she might be alive. But in the beginning of the chapter, when they started doing their commentary, they kind of suspected that Sukuna will go ahead and counter Gojo's limitless or infinity barrier by doing a domain amplification. So a domain amplification is like an upgraded version of a simple domain. And when Sukuna actually is able to use a domain amplification, then he's able to land a hit against Gojo. And this chapter pretty much implied that both of these guys don't run out of curse energy, or like Sukuna, he has a large amount of curse energy to the point where he's like godlike being. And then where Gojo, he has the sixth side, so he doesn't even run out of curse energy. So both of these guys, they can go ahead and continuously using domain expansion or just keep expanding it at will. And we see them able to do that when they both did their domain expansion, as both of them are able to collide, but they both actually canceled out each other. And then of course they did it again, and we see that Sukuna was able enough to go ahead and get the upper hand. And we see that, you know, Sukuna is laughing because he was able to hit Gojo and he was able to like avoid like his, you know, limitless or whatever attack that he has. But other than that, this is just pretty much what sums up this whole freaking chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, so this chapter is really interesting, and it was really great to see like how the other characters, they were able to commentate on the fight and just gives us like a rundown on like the strategy of what these guys are actually doing and how they're able to counter and explain how like these techniques actually work. So it's just pretty much more of like a re-education on like people to like understand the whole concept. But this chapter was pretty good. It was a pretty solid chapter. The ending was pretty much fantastic, and we just can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. But other than that, if you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monotone Man, and hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out here. Peace.